Hello everyone and welcome back to QuicksaveTV, your number one source for Skyrim coverage on YouTube. As you can see, it's a Khajiit again, but in much worse armor, as I had to restart the game, but I wasn't willing to bid farewell to our old friend Khajiit, so I just restarted with the same character. I wanted to update the game to 1.3, and when I did, the old how's it called? Script Dragon stopped working, so I just had to go ahead and reinstall the game altogether. Yes, I know I'm late with 1.3, but you know, I didn't have any rush, and I really wanted to see how 1.2 would work out. It didn't work out quite well. It brought more bugs than it fixed, in all honesty. 1.3 seems to be a little bit more stable, but again, I didn't play it for a long time. It's just 1 hour at most, probably. It wasn't enough. Plus, it seemed to me that 1.2 introduced a lot of new bugs. Specifically, the Thieves Guild was not working properly, but I cannot specify further, and I'm not sure whether or not it was one of the mods I had already installed. If the problem does not repeat in 1.3, obviously it's 1.2, then that was guilty. Angry Bandits. I don't remember if I recorded this dungeon already before, but you know, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it again. Where is he? The bandit over there. It's very close to Riverwood, the starting location. Opa! What a nice hit. Again, I'm just gonna focus again on the shield and an axe, but the previous character I accumulated, how much was it? 20 hours on him? 20 hours of gameplay, and I actually leveled pretty much a lot the how do you call them, the one-handed axes, yeah, just to see how they work. And I have to say that axes work worse than I had expected, but they still have their uses. So basically what axe does compared to we have three types of weapons, if you're not aware of that. We have swords, axes and maces. So what's the idea is that swords have critical chance, axes have bleeding damage, and maces deal the most damage by ignoring up to 75% of the enemy armor. So now, what did I expect would happen with axes? The bleeding damage would be proportional to the damage of an axe, which would be just super sweet. The stronger is your axe, the stronger the bleeding damage. Is it not logical? It seems very much logical to me, but what it actually does is it adds static damage, which is improved only through skill. So basically, as you go through skills, attacks with war axe, hack and slash, yeah, as you go to first, second and third, the damage will be improved, right? But only at this case. Like, if you change the axe, damage seems to stay the same from bleeding, which is a little bit silly in my opinion, but again, even though it does not get improved, it's weaker than I had expected. It seems that it's very strong ability. Hey, come over here. It seems very strong ability because it neglects absolutely the regeneration of mammoths and trolls. Very effective tool. Don't know how useful it's going to be in the end of the game when you know, sword and maces would already out damage it anyway, but it seems pretty much useful in the beginning. Again, I cannot say for the late game. I never had a chance to test it properly. When I will talk about it as well. So yeah, that's about it. We almost hit about the channel. Wow. Let me just get them under control. I'm gonna die like this. Yeah, stubborn enough man can survive just about anything. So about the channel, we almost hit 400 mark of subscribers, and I'm super excited about it. I would not ever expect my channel to have such success. I would say it's a success because most of the subscribers I got in the amount of 1 month. Most of the subscribers were got in 1 month. As I started the extensive coverage on Skyrim, I strive to provide better and better coverage on Skyrim, but I believe, I don't know what you guys think, I believe that this flash, you know, the beginning of each video, which is what I said, your number one Skyrim coverage on YouTube, it's not a fact, it's my opinion. And I think with each passing day, with each passing week, this opinion becomes more of a fact. Slowly replacing my bragging about it. It's something that I can surely say. Now, at least I believe so, because I'm trying to provide you in-depth, in-detail analysis for everything. I keep pumping out videos about Skyrim lore, Skyrim modding, Skyrim Adventures, which you're watching right now, and Skyrim tutorials, which is probably the pride of my channel. I have about 31 tutorial up at this point, and it's a continuous work. I keep uploading tutorials about various things in the game. I finished, as I think I said it before. There's no point to talk about it again. Oh, they spotted me. Just go ahead and liquidate them. At least they're one-handed. As a one-handed warrior with one-handed weapon, although you have effective means to fight with warriors with two-handed weaponry, it seems that in general they are the strongest enemies because of their damage and because of the probability that they're gonna score the fatality on you. Fatality as such doesn't need to be scored when you have very few hit points. They usually score it regardless, very often. This was a fatality right now. With two-handed fatalities are much more brutal, and they can be activated when you have much more hit points. It's very difficult to avoid fatalities when you're fighting with two-handed, or when you're fighting against someone who has two-handed weaponry, and it's very difficult to stay alive when you actually do. So, I believe it's my hardest fights in general, the most interesting, the most exciting, and it's just, they also, although they're very difficult and very hard to fight against them, they also provide you with the most experience. So if you successfully block enemy two-handed strike, you will get a lot experience for your shield. Very simple, right? So it's very nice in general to have it. Wow. That was a fail. Some mushrooms. What's the best thing to do during the fight? Pick up mushrooms, of course. Got him. I'll just try to activate the Khajiit's night vision as whenever I feel that it's not visible enough, because I have no way of knowing how bright it's going to be. As you can see, I installed this mod which retextures the peak lockpicking interface. I like it very much. It seems very realistic and alive, how to put it better. I will probably make a video about this mod and provide all the necessary links for you to download it if you would like to try it out yourself. It's unbelievably lucky pick. What do we have? Gauntlets? Deft hands. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead. It's a very useful ring. It actually doesn't happen like this usually. It was a really lucky pick, as we just picked up 3 artifacts for two-handed, for pickpocket, and what else was that? Something else. A weapon, I think. Yeah, blessed warhammer. I probably go ahead and disenchant it. There's no point to keep it at this specific moment because I still cannot improve enchanted weapons. One of the most important skills, I think, in smithing, if you want to use enchanted weaponry, I mean as such, like unique weaponry in the game, you should pick it up in order to be able to improve it. But actually, it's arguable, but probably the best weaponry and armor in the game is the one you enchant yourself, because if you get skilled enough in enchanting, you will be able to make very good enchantments. But if you find something enchanted already, in order to improve it, you have to have specific perk. Okay. Knowing that Khajiits have night eye, it seems illogical to me how Khajiits also don't spot sneaking characters better. It seems a little bit silly. Since they see in the dark, why don't they spot them also better? It would be only logical. Sneaking against Khajiits is much more difficult, and then just some of the modders would be able to make in every bandit raid he would just add 1 Khajiit, and all the assassins and thieves would have a gigantic problem with that. Okay, enemy reinforcements. I'll go ahead and make an arrow duel. There has been some questions about Oblivion, to me about Oblivion, specifically how to do this and that in Oblivion. I want to put it that if you understand how the way things worked in Morrowind, if you played Morrowind, If you now play Skyrim, and after that you play Oblivion, it's not so hard to understand the way things operate, because they're very similar. Like, for example, there is a very funny tactic, which I like to call sidestepping. When the enemy archer tries to hit you with an arrow, in Oblivion it works much better. Just go ahead and do this. Just dance to the left and to the right. What's gonna happen, you're just gonna evade every arrow, because he will try to predict your movement to the left and to the right, and when you move constantly to the left and to the right, the prediction will fail. It doesn't work as well in Skyrim, as not only they predict better, but also there is this unspoken magnitude of, how to put it better, arrows don't fly necessarily straight where you send them. There is deviation in the flight. Only when you are not moving and you have a high skill in archery, the arrows will fly straight. So according to that, basically, whenever someone fires an arrow to you, as they usually don't have 100 in archery and they're not standing straight, they're gonna miss sometimes. And that also makes very difficult for blocking with a shield, because you cannot 100% of the time block the flying arrows at you. And the size of the shield directly matters in this blocking. When before the shield would cover the whole front of the character, in Oblivion, I'm talking about Oblivion, now the shield covers only a specific part of the body, specifically to the left. Now covering with the shield is more difficult, because you should deviate the position of the shield a little bit to respond to the flying arrows. Like, for example, you don't look straight at the enemy character, you turn a little bit to the right to cover this part with the shield. But then again, if his or her arrow deviates and hits you, for example, lower than the shield or higher than the shield, specifically in your head, you won't again be able to block it with your shield. So the size of the shield, the bigger the shield, the better the coverage. I'm wondering when they're gonna add the Roman shields or Byzantine shields, I mean the modders, when they're gonna add these shields, how's it gonna work? The gigantic tower shields would be very, very effective in this setup. So far, as I played with the previous character, the most effective shields, in my opinion, were the Dwarven, because of the size, because they were covering most of the part of your body. They cover part of the head, they cover part of the down to the knees. So actually only not covered part is the knee and below that. Yeah, before I took an arrow in the knee. So yeah, it just seems much more effective. Sometimes the shield with lower defense is better because it's just bigger. So in general, the starting shields, iron shields and so on, the Imperial shield is just a joke because of its form. It's way too straight, way too long, but it's not broad enough, so it doesn't cover enough again. It's again a lag based. You cover more of your head and you cover more of your legs, but you don't cover enough of your body, right? When you're broad enough, it's just gonna bypass the shield. It's again very stupid. So yeah, as I said again, my favorite shield up to this point is Dwarven. Probably Daedric would be a really good example as well. I'm not sure about the Dragonbone shield. I don't like the form very much. It doesn't seem to be covering everything. Dwarven is like a brick in your hand. It's very easy to hide behind it. Very effective. Well, it also provides reasonable defense. Right. Okay, so we finished with this thing. Just go ahead, quit it. The Atronach Stone ability allows you to absorb some magicka from enemy spells and gives you extra magicka, but it slows your magicka regeneration. It's very useful actually, because it's much more useful than in Oblivion. In Oblivion there was the same stone, not the stone, the bird sign of Atronach. It completely removed regeneration of mana, I think, and you would replenish your mana by absorbing mana, basically. Now, in Skyrim, the way it operates, your mana regeneration slows down dramatically when you're in a fight and gets back to normal value when you're out of the fight. So actually, during the fight, no matter how high your mana regeneration was, the value, how high it was, it's gonna get really low anyway, so it seems very pointless to increase it or spend your time and money on doing it. It's just not as useful as the initial mana reserves. Because, for example, even when you increase your mana regeneration by 100%, when initial, let's say, regeneration will be 5 per second, let's just suppose it's 5. In the battle, it's gonna be like 1.5. It's not so useful. The initial reserve, as such, is much more useful. So just gonna go ahead and explore now. It's night, And for any of you who are not aware with the way Radiant story works, and in general the way Skyrim operates, you have chances for random encounters, and these encounters are, some of them are prescripted, some of them are very simple, like right now. Wow, that's a very good example. So now the bandit gives us something. He stole something, and he gives us something to keep. I don't know what it is exactly because I wasn't reading. I think that's the thing. Hide armor of minor conjuring, which I have no intentions to give it back to him. I'm just gonna go ahead and keep it. And when there's gonna be a hunter, we're just gonna go ahead and try to find him. I'm just gonna tell him where he is. And after that, basically, sometimes what happened is that because of the fugitive's amount of health and his fighting, let's say, capabilities, he usually dies before he comes back. So some of these events, they don't work quite as well. Here you go. Here you go.
Someone run past just now. Great. Thanks. Bastard stole from me. I'll catch him. You're mine.
He sure is yours. I don't mind. Sometimes when you rob someone's house in a specific city, guards send some maulers to beat you up. They actually try to kill you, not just beat you up, and you will have to defend yourself. So it's just, you know, it's an example of a random event. There was a high beehive, wasn't it? Perfect. We got some stuff from it. Yeah, as you do things in Skyrim, your disposition towards different people will change depending on what you do, and there's this random event which I like very much, when the specific character will give you a gift, right? In my case it was a book, in your case it might be something else. When you I presume when you get a very, very high disposition from one of the characters in the game, what might happen is that this character will make you a gift, right? What is this gift specifically? I cannot tell. Probably it's just something randomly generated. I have to rely on my experience with this book. It's just I got book once, that's it. I don't know what you might get. It's probably randomly generated, it would make sense. And I just like the way it works. It seems that the world is living its own life, and although the world reacts to your decisions and to your actions towards it, it doesn't operate purely on what you're doing. It does its own things. Characters live their own life. They assume their roles, and they do things. It's basically, they don't depend on you all that much. And I have, I think, 1 minute left. I'm gonna conclude soon, when my timer gonna make the sound. Well, yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video and enjoyed the commentary. If you did, go ahead, like, subscribe, and share with your friends. I was glad having you here. I'm just gonna go ahead and conclude at this point because I cannot record too long videos, and which is really disappointing. I would like to record like videos of 1 hour. I have to record videos of 20 minutes at most. So yeah, if you like the video and enjoyed the commentary, go ahead, like, subscribe, and favorite it to be able to share with your friends or anybody else who's checking your channel. I thank you very much. Thank you for watching. And if you would like more information about Skyrim from my channel, go ahead and check my other playlists: Skyrim lore, Skyrim tutorials, and Skyrim, what was that, modding. Yes, I'm uploading some other videos regularly on this how do you call them, playlists as well. Thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for more content, and have a great day.